So yeah, more Netflix Marvel. Yeah, and I know it technically shouldn't be called Netflix Marvel because it's not on Netflix, but so yeah, with this, I like this because I like the idea of showing, because this is going to be complicated because there's a couple of things that I would like to talk about, but because of the current state of affairs, thank you, some people who I don't want to mention because it, well, Trump. So, one, what is June? Pride Month. End of discussion. It's also Men's Mental Health Month, but you can have both. Pride is a thing that you need to take in consideration, and a lot of people are affected by Pride. And it is an important thing that is part of someone's history. All of it is important. I would also argue that mental health, period, is important, but I don't think people in the LGBT community are going to find it insulting if I say that mental health is important. Pride is also important, and mental health. There's just a lot of people who celebrate Pride for a good reason. Besides the point, one of the things which I like about this show, which is why I needed to mention that, is showing sort of like certain people who are sort of like have their own troubles and their own sort of like revenge, and it shows sort of like some people who are ex-military, hence why I brought that up at the beginning, and how they could fall through that. That is one of the things that I needed to bring up, because at the current point, they're trying to replace Pride Month with either, I think, Title IX Month, which is, I feel like it's going to get worse. Great. But it is a thing that I need to mention, because this show, I think, shows how sort of like that could affect you, and working in as a soldier could affect you moving forwards. And I think that's really interesting. But again, I would like to emphasize Pride sort of thing. I feel like that's important to mention. Not because I'm like being like, because one, the one thing which I find out interesting, the person who plays this character actually is an ally, which is the most funnest thing ever when you see someone who plays him and they're against that. A couple of people who use Punisher as bad faith. Other people can explain it better, but I just find that interesting. Again, I just wanted to explain why I wanted to talk about it. So yeah. Sorry for going on the rant. It's for two reasons. One, I want to acknowledge Pride exists. Pride Month exists. Go and follow it. And talk about how I'm annoyed with that. Even though I'm UK, I'm admitting I'm UK, and legitimately my votes mean nothing. It is something that I'm just frustrated with watching it on TikTok, so sorry about that. Anyway, spoilers. The one thing which I like is the sort of mistrust, and because I also like the fact that you have one person who seemingly looks like he's going to be built up and then dies, which is fun. The idea was like, no. But I do think it's cool. I do think it's really exciting in that way. But it is one of those things that makes it interesting because of that. But overall, I would recommend, actually, I'll leave that for that. The other one is, one of the things I like between the sort of like protagonist and the antagonist. They have this connection and it slowly sort of pushes it, which is interesting. And it's all about like this one secret, which is so fun to think about. But yeah. So yeah. I'm excited, and I think The Punisher season 2 might be in a way, but the one reason why I'm excited about watching The Punisher is, if I'm correct, The Punisher was in the Daredevil series. I talked about that. And I haven't talked too much about the behind the scenes because I think better people do that. But the reason why I'm excited to watch this and this second season is because that it has this connection with there's supposedly a Punisher special. And even though I'm admitting that going into a place out of vengeance isn't the most moral thing. Shocking news, going in shooting people with no explanation isn't moral. You're just murdering people. I think they might do that style, which I think is interesting as a character point. Because I think that idea of questioning why revenge is so important is interesting. Because do I think it's moral? No. Do I get it? Yes. But yeah, I do think it's really interesting because of that. So yeah, another short one tomorrow. So that's going to be fun. So yeah, I hope you enjoy, and good night.